It is absurd to me that this is Ryan Coogler's first fully original film in the past 12 years, and I wouldn't say that I had doubt going into it, but I had a lot of curiosity what it would be like, since the only other films we've seen him do is the two Black Panther films and Creed. He's obviously a director that has been gaining a lot of momentum and praise for those films, and we have seen several directors now that unfortunately have fallen off post their MCU career, and I am so happy to say that Ryan Coogler is not joining that list, because Sinners is an absolute masterpiece, one of the best films I have seen this decade, and one you absolutely need to see in theaters. So what I knew going into this film was vampires, which isn't super spoilery, although I kind of wish they would have revealed a little less in the trailers and marketing. But what you get with this film is not only vampires, but a deep character study and set building with this incredible immersive world. It's Mississippi in the 1930s, and even a version of it that we really haven't seen a lot of within film and television. The plot mainly focuses around the Black community. A lot of them are still picking cotton, some of them have left and gone to bigger cities like Chicago, but to no surprise, a lot of them are really struggling, and I think this film does an excellent job showing their experience and pain through this era. You also see other minority groups, such as a Chinese family who is living in the South, full Southern accents and everything, so you can really feel all the attention to details that went into this world building. Because yes, the vampires and the action set pieces are the hook in the marketing that is trying to get everyone to go to the theater, but what I found so refreshing about this film is that it pays so close attention to the character building that I was completely satisfied just getting to know everyone within this small community. In fact, for the first hour of this film, all you're seeing is these characters interact with each other. We're introduced to a long list of them. We understand their interpersonal relationships and their messy dynamics. We know who is related. We know who has previous romantic history. And why I felt like that was so important within this film is because when the vampires eventually come, there is so much more at stake emotionally for how connected we are to each individual character. And don't get me wrong, I do have appreciation for films within this subgenre that really just get to the point of it. There's certainly a time and place for that, but for what this film was trying to accomplish, it really required that extra emotional buildup so that we would feel the weight of what eventually could happen. But don't worry, if you are mostly in this just for the vampires, I honestly think they do one of the best job I've seen in years with the lore, the world building of their universe. It's full of wooden stakes, garlic, and even a lesser known rule, especially in modern vampire movies, that they have to be invited into your presence, which is a key element within this plot, not only with the structure, but also the theme. And what that theme is, in my interpretation, is what evil are we inviting into our communities? And this movie has several ideas for that answer. And the first one is just straight up rock and roll. There are a lot of religious elements within this film, and so the theme that rock and roll just invites the devil into your life, it's an option that this film throws out. Another one is just big city corruption that leads into small towns. We have several characters that left for a short period to go up to Chicago. They join a mob, they rob some places, and bring all that crime back into their community. And then of course there's white supremacy, which you can't have an accurate representation of southern Mississippi in the 30s if that didn't exist. And in my opinion, that probably would be the most evil of those three options. And I just think it is such a brilliant use of the lore surrounding vampires to take that concept, one that we are at least somewhat familiar with. I'm sure everyone has seen some sort of vampire within media, and to take that concept and have it relate to this very specific era of American history. Yes, the action set pieces surrounding these vampires are fun. It's gory and a really solid horror film, but it's also looking at what these vampires could potentially represent to these people. And of course, with a film that relies so heavily on the character development, you need solid actors to back it up. And luckily, everyone in this film is giving some of the best performances I've seen of their career. Michael B. Jordan pulling the Parent Trap, playing twins, and it's a real challenge that I think he ultimately pulls off. They each individually have their own mannerism and characteristics. In the beginning, the film does give you really easy clues, such as one wearing red and one wearing blue, so you have no confusion who is who. But as the movie progresses, you can honestly just tell the difference from his acting style and the way he's behaving, and it's a skill that not every actor can pull off. There's a lot of other actors you'll recognize. Hailee Steinfeld does a great job. Jack O'Connell is the face you're going to recognize. And then there's the people that we just really take for granted within movies, such as Omar, Benson Miller, and Delroy Lindo. These are two actors that anytime they show up, I am completely bought into their performance. And so I'm just really glad that Ryan Coogler is finding ways to utilize them, because they are both standouts within this film. But all of the story, the world building, the character developments aside, what makes this film stand out above anything else I've seen in theaters in the past few years is how unique the actual visuals are. And I know that is the dumbest way you can describe a movie, is by having good visuals. But what Ryan Coogler does that so many directors fail to do is actually use movie moving pictures to tell a creative story outside of just the dialogue. The aspect ratio is a part of that, and he's really emphasizing people see this in IMAX, which I did, and I would heavily encourage everyone to do the same, because from scene to scene, the aspect ratio does change, and I think it really enhances what each scene is trying to tell you. To look at the open Mississippi fields for miles and miles and miles, to looking very close up at characters' faces as they are delivering dialogue, there are such intentional choices and editing styles that he utilizes here that really makes this film stand above others that try to tell similar stories. There is specifically one scene about in the midway point that involves a musical performance, and I don't want to give away spoilers, and hopefully you know what I'm talking about if you have seen the film, but it is one of the most creative choices I've seen a director do. It utilizes this long continuous shot as well as incorporates different styles of music within the scene that create this overall abstract experience. And even though you are aware you're watching a vampire movie, this specific scene takes it to the next level of being otherworldly and really takes advantage of the fact that this movie is fictional and it can do whatever it wants, ignoring many rules that many directors would try to follow with movie making. And I think the music element as well is another reason why this specific scene and the movie as a whole is so impactful, because what I didn't fully realize in watching this vampire movie is that this would also just be a music lesson on the blues. It is nearly impossible to talk about American music without mentioning the Black experience. From blues to jazz to Motown, funk, hip-hop, R&B, it's all connected to the Black experience, and this movie really emphasizes the blues element of that and the pain that some of these musicians are going through that allows them to create such powerful emotional art. And so with that theme being so prevalent within this film, it would be an absolute crime if the music, specifically the score, wasn't one of the best of the decades, and don't worry, luckily it is. There are moments where this feels like one of the best staged musicals I've ever seen on film, and it not only services the purpose of being fun and entertaining, but it also utilizes the music, the blocking, the singing, all to tell the story that evil is out there, whether in the form of vampires, oppression, or anything else, and it is just waiting for the opportunity to be invited into our communities. So yes, I found very little flaws within this film. I hope that everyone goes and sees it, because not only is it great to support such an original piece of art, but the fact that it is also a great original piece of art makes it that much better. So those are some of my brief thoughts on the film Sinners, but I would love to hear yours. So if you've seen the film, please comment below, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time.